Fair warning, there are mentions of death and suicide in this post. If you're sensitive to those topics, please skip this one. So, about a month ago, I opened YouTube and my feed was overrun by people talking about Nikocado Avocado dying. I had never really paid attention to him before. I'd seen and heard jokes about him online. I knew what kind of content he made, but I never watched him. This was not someone who would usually show up in my feed, but there were so many videos about him that day that I finally watched one. And it was another person that I hadn't watched, ranting angrily about how his fanbase killed him. And they showed a clip of Nikocado angry, and screaming, swearing, and crying about how messed up everyone is, and then reaching off camera to pick up a certain weapon that I don't want to say the name of, because I don't want Raven to get in trouble for saying it on YouTube. It's very considerate, thank you. And then saying something like, "This is the last time you'll ever see me. After I upload this video, I'll be gone." And the comments and other videos were full of people blaming each other and arguing about whose fault it was. And for a few days, the internet was blowing up about it, and discussing issues with engaging with content about people putting their lives in dangers for views. It was very overwhelming, and it was everywhere. I even remember seeing a news article posted about his autopsy being used in some college study to study the effect of obesity and overeating. And even though I didn't know him or watch his content, I was really affected by the whole situation. It was very shocking and upsetting, seeing the way that people reacted. Pointing fingers, denying involvement, countless video essays, it just went on and on. Then, one day, I didn't see anything about it anymore. It was like everyone forgot, and I really didn't know what to think. Then, today, Matthew Santoro mentioned him in a video about YouTubers lying to people, and I thought he was going to say that Nikocado faked his death. But instead, he talked about how he had been uploading pre-recorded videos while losing weight, and showed him after his weight loss. I was shocked and very confused. So I've been searching the internet to figure out what actually happened, and I see the video he posted titled 2 Steps Ahead and watched part of it. I didn't watch the whole thing because I don't like watching people eat. But it was nothing like the video that I saw before. His attitude was the complete opposite. He was wearing different clothes. But I swear it was posted on the same day, Friday, September 6th. I don't know why I remember the date. I never remember dates, but this one stands out to me for some reason. It all feels so weird, but I don't know if I dreamed it or if it's some kind of delusion or false memory. But if it was something my brain fabricated, why would it be about a YouTuber I had barely heard of? Maybe it was a glitch. Or maybe I came from another timeline or dreamed myself into one. I'm just so confused. It was so real and it was everywhere and then it was just gone. I really cannot wrap my head around it. Is there anyone else who saw this happen? Because I'm just so confused. First of all, I'd just like to say that I love these Glitch in the Matrix stories, and really look forward to listening to them each week. And keep up the good work, Raven. Thank you. I've experienced a lot of unusual things over the years, from premonitions to synchronicity, but most of these I would class as glitches. My most recent glitch happened on my way home from work a few months ago. I work in London and use several modes of transport to get to and from work. The last part, on the way back, involves getting a bus which drops me a couple of minutes from my house. On this particular day, as I walked to the bus stop to catch the bus, I passed a middle-aged Sikh man and a teenage girl, who I assumed to be his daughter. It's not unusual to see a Sikh man in London, but they do seem to stand out a bit more than other people because of their turbans. The man was wearing a royal blue one, which made him stand out even more as I hadn't seen one of that color before. I'd say that I'm probably a bit more observant than most people, and am very aware of everything around me. It's just the way that I am. Anyway, after passing the Sikh man and his daughter, I walked to the bus stop to wait for my bus. I was standing at the end of the bus stop looking down the road to look out for the bus, but I could also see the path next to the stop and see the people walking up to it. After about a minute at the bus stop, I was astonished to see the same Sikh man walk past the bus stop with his daughter. I was so shocked and bewildered that as they passed, I did a quick double take and stared at them in utter disbelief. So much so that the girl looked right at me. God knows what she was thinking, as she saw me staring at her and her father. But the expression on my face must have been a picture. How could this be? I passed them walking up the street 2 minutes earlier, so how could they be walking up the same street again? The bus stop is next to a gym, which is part of a block, which also contains a supermarket. Maybe they had walked around the block and had come around again, I thought. But that wouldn't have been possible in the time frame that it happened. I looked it up on Google Maps when I got home to see if this was possible, but there wasn't a connecting road to do this. I tried to think of any other explanation as to how they could walk up the road again after having already done so 2 minutes earlier. Perhaps they turned around after they passed me earlier and walked past the bus stop to look for something, and then turned around again and walked back up the road past the bus stop. However, if they had done that, I would have seen them, as I was facing down the same road and would have seen them walk past. Another possibility is that they could have crossed over the road and looped back to this side of the road, but again, I would have seen them do this. I even wondered if it was the same man and girl, but I know what I saw earlier, and it was definitely the same people. The only explanation, as crazy as it seems, is that I saw the same two people twice. Once further up the street, and again further down the street, but walking in the same direction. My question, if this was a glitch, is which one of these was the real man and his daughter? On balance, I think the second time I saw them was them actually walking up the street, and the first one was some kind of projection or premonition. As the girl looked at me when I saw them the second time, I think that one was real, if anything is real. Unfortunately, the first time I saw them was after they had walked past the bus stop, so I didn't see whether the girl turned her head to look at something when they passed the stop. I wish I had looked to see where they went the second time I saw them. Maybe they would have disappeared further up the road to loop back again, forever and ever. Hi, Raven. I discovered your channel about 6 months ago, and I would like to thank you for the work you do. I definitely just experienced a glitch in the Matrix. I'm a 48-year-old man from Manchester, England, UK. I work as an account manager for a commercial energy supplier. It's a regular 9-to-5 office job. My coworkers are of various ages, some younger, some older, so it's a very mixed age environment, and everyone gets along well. Earlier in the week, one of my colleagues, who's 24 years old, told me how she's been having trouble with toothache from one of her wisdom teeth. It was the usual story in that she says the pain comes and goes, and her dentist has said there's no need for any serious treatment, and to come back in a few months for a checkup. I know there's a really good toothache painkiller called Origel, and said that I would get some. She said she'd never heard of it, but thanks for offering, and that was the end of the chat. Fast forward to Saturday. I went out with one of my mates to a local town, whereby he needed to pick up his car. So we got to the train there, and had a few drinks and a bite to eat. We got to his car and he gave me a drive home. When I got home, I felt like another drink or two, so I went to my local supermarket to get a bottle of wine. While on the way to the alcohol aisle to get the wine, I passed through the pharmaceuticals aisle. And that's when I spotted the toothache gel that I was talking to my coworker about. I thought it was a major coincidence, and I should obviously buy it for my friend at work as a nice gesture. Now, Oragel comes in a red cardboard box, and always has. As I got it from the shelf, I noticed there was another version of Oragel in a blue box, which cost the same price, £4. I was confused and intrigued as I had never seen the blue version, so I was reading the content to see how it was different. There was no difference. I had the red box in my hand and read it, and sure enough, it was all the same ingredients as the new blue box. I thought, oh well, I'll buy the red box, but as I was still feeling puzzled, I looked back at the shelf to see the blue box version. There was no blue box version. And not only that, there was no red box version either. I stood there holding the red box in my hand, looking at the shelf where I had just picked it up from, in the line of boxes, and it was gone. The two sections of the shelf where the Oragel was sold had disappeared. There was no toothache gel in that store, other than the one I had in my hand. I stood there shocked and confused, as there was literally nowhere to put the red box back on the shelf. Feeling stunned, I went and bought my wine and toothache gel and walked out of the store. What just happened inside is impossible, and I'm back at home writing this while trying to make some sense of whatever just happened. So, when I was younger, maybe around 11 years old back in 1993, I was taken to Disneyland by my brother's girlfriend. We rode rides and had lots of fun. As the day went on, maybe on our third or fourth ride, we went on the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a little boat ride which just so happens to go around a seating area for a restaurant called Blue Bayou. I told my brother's girlfriend that I wanted to go eat there, and she told me that she didn't have enough money for that, so when we got off the ride, we ended up just getting a turkey leg. Now, this was before California Adventure was built, and Downtown Disney. My glitch is that restaurant was called something very different from the Blue Bayou. It was called Rainforest Cafe. I swear that it was called Rainforest Cafe, and I've been there 15 to 20 times, knowing this as the Rainforest Cafe. And this last year, my wife, she bought us annual passes for us and the kids, and when we went on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, I immediately told her, hey, they changed the name of the restaurant there. It was called Rainforest Cafe before. And then I told her that I'd always wanted to eat there. She told me that we would have to make reservations for this place, and just yesterday we went, and she told me that she has reservations. So, we went to the restaurant, and when the older man came to refill our water, I asked him when they changed the name of the restaurant, and he said it's always been the Blue Bayou, ever since 1968 when they opened this restaurant. Anyhow, that's my glitch. Anyone else been to this dimension with me where the Blue Bayou was once called the Rainforest Cafe? Hello, Raven. I always have had vivid dreams and nightmares. I wake up, usually to realize I was dreaming, as they seem as real sometimes as the reality I wake up to. Because of this, I've begun writing down my dreams. This was one of the weirdest dreams I've ever had. I titled the dream in my journal, The Woman in the Mirror, and it happened September 24th, 2024. When my husband gets up for work, I usually wake up briefly to say goodbye and I love you. But then I usually go back to sleep as I have an extra hour before work. Well, I went back to sleep that morning for the hour, and I had a horrendous dream of a vampire trying to possess me through the bathroom mirror. I was in front of the bathroom mirror in my house, and when I looked in the mirror, it wasn't my face, but a pale, skinny woman with black eyes, black irises, and pupils. She had black hair with the wolf-style haircut that women had a lot in the 2022 to 2023 range. Originally, the haircut style is from the 70s and 80s. She wore deep red lipstick and a black and red outfit. This woman in the mirror was trying to possess me. Instinctively, a thought said, vampire. I was staring at a vampire in the mirror. I could sense my body, but this woman was in my reflection. I needed to turn on the light in the bathroom as it seemed very dim lit but not dark. It was like a gray sheet was pulled over my eyes. When I turned on the bathroom light, it was still dark/dim for me. I remember being confused and scared, turning on and off the light thinking that it was out. But I could tell that a small bit of light was working. She moved when I moved in the mirror. I tried to take a photo of this woman in the mirror with my cell phone so that I could show my husband my experience, but some unseen force was restraining my arm and hand. I couldn't move like normal. It was like she was trying to stop me from moving my own body. When I finally held up my hand in the struggle, my eyes saw in the mirror that she didn't hold a cell phone, but an old wireless phone with an antenna that you pull out. In the mirror was a phone from the 80s, not my cell phone. I looked at my hand. I held the old phone. I laughed at how convenient it all was that I couldn't prove my experience. The woman's lips began moving in a speech in the mirror, but I couldn't hear anything she said. My hearing was like I was underwater. I couldn't read her lips either because it was hard to see in the dim light. I noticed her bathroom was slightly different than my bathroom, but similar. It looked similar in the reflection, but we had identical-sized mirrors. She used her left hand to reach for her older-style hairdryer talking to me, but I couldn't hear her. My left arm also moved in a reach like she did, mirrored. I was matching her movements now. I leaned forward to the woman to look at her really close in the eyes. She copied my movements perfectly. I was smiling at her, telling her how amazing she was throughout. I was not afraid of her, but inside I was terrified of the situation. At the same time, I felt like something was protecting me. I felt a warmth of love protecting me. It was not love for this woman in the mirror, but something full of love was protecting me like an angel. At the same time, I felt like the woman in the mirror was warning me somehow. I didn't feel good vibes from her or anything. I just felt like she was telling me to be careful who I allow inside, or they will take over, as she demonstrated by resisting my movements. Was it a ghost trying to possess me in the dream realm? Or instead, did I go back in time? The old phone is evidence to that theory. It was a bizarre experience nonetheless. It felt so real. My hearing was muted, my eyesight was dim, and I couldn't move fluently. I'm just glad that I woke up. I woke up 3 minutes before my alarm went off for work. I'm sharing this because I heard others in your community describe their eyes having been dimmed somehow in glitch experiences. It intrigued me to maybe think that it's related somehow. Did this vampire connect to me somehow with the mirror? My sister thinks that it could have been a goddess, but I don't believe in such things. Who knows? It was only a dream, after all. When I was a child, my mom started dating a football player. He wasn't too famous or anything, more of a local celebrity. She came home one evening with a cut rose that he must have given her on their date. She displayed it in the glass cabinets, and life went on. Eventually, they got married, we moved across the country twice, and the years went by. Although it isn't relevant to the story, I really didn't get on well with her new husband. He was verbally abusive towards me and worse to her. Anyway, we moved house quite a bit. Years went by, and all the time she kept this shriveled, dead rose in the glass cabinet. One night, they had an explosive argument in the kitchen, and I woke up the next day to find the rose in a glass vase by the sink. I suppose she had put it in view to remind him of their first date. It was almost black at this point, petals shriveled and beaten. I remember thinking that it somehow mirrored their dying relationship, which, I guess, looking back, was a profound thought for an 11-year-old. At the same time, I was kind of impressed it hadn't completely disintegrated in the glass cabinet after 6 years and several house moves. Perhaps a week later, I was in the kitchen cleaning some dishes when I noticed something that did not make sense. Water had condensed and collected in the glass vase, and the rose was somehow looking more full. The bottom of the blackened stem was green and small. White roots were creeping around in the water. When my mom came home from work, I pointed this out to her. She was just as shocked as me. This rose had been dead for years. There is no way any life was left in the thing. More weeks passed, and the rose grew out more of its fresh green stem, a few leaves, and eventually my mom potted it in soil. A healthy rose bush grew from under the dead, shriveled rose, that rose remaining at the top, never losing any of its blackened petals. Now, I'm no horticulturist, so perhaps this can be explained by science? Even so, it amazes me that something can survive for so many years with no nourishment or care. I thought roses were meant to be temperamental things. Annoyingly, the rosebush was destroyed the year my mum finally found the strength to leave her ex-husband. His poor dog, which he left outside all the time, got bored and ripped the thing up. I remember seeing the crumpled mess of thorny branches topped by that rotten dead rose lying on the patio. I didn't know if I felt sorry for it, or relieved. Hey Raven, long time since my Lola story. I've been recovering from knee surgery number 2. Hope you recover quickly. I was living with my abusive ex back in 2015 at her equally evil mom's place, where I had quite a few crazy experiences. But this one takes the cake. Oftentimes I was by myself, thank God, due to her job, until one of her kids came home. There were only 2 animals in the house. A cute little parakeet who sang when you walked by, and the dog who wouldn't cause much, if any, issues. One day, I was working on details for my debut wrestling promotions show, booking guys, etc. I was getting pretty hungry, so I walked through the hall into the living room and into the kitchen. When I walked by, I heard the familiar singing and said hello to the parakeet who was climbing all around its cage. Dog was being a dog, sleeping on the couch. I recall having a serving of Oikos 000 yogurt and some leftovers or something along those lines. I grab all my stuff, head back to the room to eat, and continue working on things. After eating, I don't like leaving dishes or trash lying around for too long, letting my tummy rest a few moments before I traverse the hallway into the kitchen once more. Suddenly, I realized, where's that familiar chirping? Not a single claw noise? Not a peep of anything? Drumroll, that damn bird 100% completely disappeared off this planet, if not the universe. I've had a completely paranormal life, but this? Oh no, this was the pinnacle of experiences. outside of out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences. How does a little parakeet disappear in a 10-minute span of time? I checked the house. I checked everywhere. And that's when I double-checked the cage, and guess what? It was locked. I called the ex saying that she needed to get home ASAP because the bird had vanished. We checked the dog's mouth just to make sure he didn't somehow eat the poor thing, but no. Couch cushions? No. Behind the couch and other spots? Nope. What we did find was a trail of feathers from the kitchen to her mom's door, which was shut and locked. Those feathers were in a circle. Seeing this is typically a bad sign, get out of Dodge kind of issue. Eventually, I did legitimately plan an epic escape from her, considering all the ridiculous activity inside and outside the house. It's a literal miracle that I got out without a single issue. Due to a lot of experiences, such as the loud hiss I once heard, there was some badness in this house. My theory is either whatever was there actually helped me to get out, because it couldn't affect me, or I had another type of supernatural friendly help. Even evil has its own rules, codes, and morals, despite popular belief. Perhaps my attempts to reason with it, asking if it could chill until I can get out, benefited me in the end. Because there's simply no other way I could have gotten out of that house without spiritual intervention. My bags, PC, and everything else were sitting in the room packed, door closed. Her mom came home and I had an oh crap moment. Luckily, she didn't stay very long. I made my escape and here I am. Whoever, or whatever, you did me a solid. And I'm sure the bird is somewhere happy and safe. I've had many experiences in my young life, including paranormal ones, though I won't get into those here. I had an overactive imagination as a child, so I usually dismissed those things as fantasy. Now in my mid-40s, I have a story to share about something that happened during my work experience at 16. My friend and I had to take a bus that dropped us off about 20 minutes walk from the work site. One day, as we were walking, we saw a red car with its hazard lights flashing. We passed it, but then suddenly it felt like we had jumped back in time. We were right at the beginning of the walk, passing the same car again. Hazards just flashing still. The strange part wasn't the time jump, though it was the feeling that came with it. I turned to my friend and asked, "Did you feel that?" He nodded and said yes. We both felt weird, like we were groggy, as if waking up from a dream. It was unsettling, but we went on with our day and didn't talk much about it again until later. Years later, when it crossed my mind, I'd ask him, "Do you remember that car?" And he always said yes. So I know it wasn't just my imagination. I felt like we'd experienced a glitch in reality, like time warped or were somehow transported. It reminds me of a similar experience I had as a child, which was something I always chalked up to my imagination, because I was the only one there to witness them. But this time it was different. I could never make sense of that experience until I came across your channel and started listening to some of the stories about similar bizarre events. Hearing others share their strange encounters really resonated with me, and helped me realize that I wasn't alone in what I went through. Hi, Raven. My name is Qasharah. I love your voice and vibe. Great work, and here's my glitch experience. When I was 14, the year of 2004, thereabouts, I was home alone during school hours. I used to skip school regularly due to many reasons that I won't get into. So, I'm sitting at home on the couch watching a Disney show called Monday Night Football Club, or something like that. I'm watching this show, and sure as shiitake mushrooms, I see my remote on the television show. They're using the same remote as me, and I chalk it up to just being something interesting. Then the pizza delivery guy rings the doorbell. I answer the door, pay him, and take the pizza back to the couch. Now that I'm getting settled in with food, I want to surf the channels, but I suddenly cannot find the remote anywhere. I tore the living room apart, looking high and low. I ended up looking throughout the whole house. No remote. My family starts to come home, and they all look for the remote with me, but nothing. All I could think was that I maybe absent-mindedly somehow gave the remote to the delivery guy, but I'm assuming he would have pointed that out and returned it. We moved eventually, and still never found the remote. I believe that my remote somehow ended up in that television universe, or something equally as strange, and that this is a glitch in the Matrix. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to write this story out, one that I find entertaining to think about. So, I hope that it can also entertain others. You read my story about how I would randomly daydream about these random memories of me being in high school and having a girlfriend. I'm not sure if you remember reading it, but either way, I just started working at my second job because I kind of went and financed a car I probably won't be able to afford with just having my primary job. Anyway, the first day at my new job, I meet all of my coworkers. A coworker named Sarah mentioned that a girl named Michelle was out sick and that she would be back tomorrow, and how she's such a great and smart girl. So I kind of just shrugged it off and got back to work. The next day comes, and I walk into work and say hello to everyone, and then, boom, I see Michelle. I literally go into the bathroom and basically have a full-on panic attack. Michelle is the girl that I've been daydreaming about for the last 2 years of my life. I haven't really said much to her throughout the last 2 weeks of working here. Like, how did I have memories of a girl I never knew? Since that day that I first saw her, the daydreams have stopped. It's crazy stuff, and if this isn't nuts, then I don't know what is. So that, my friends, was a collection of some Glitch in the Matrix stories, the second one of the week. I wanted to bookend this week, not counting Saturday, with glitch stories. So we did one on Monday. We decided to do one on Friday. Sorry I didn't have a video for you on Thursday. It's been a bit of a week, been kind of busy with personal stuff as normal. Just some extra personal stuff having to go on, and I don't know, don't say that I'm burnt out, please. I'm not burnt out. I kind of just needed a day to rest. A lot of just fatigue and stuff. Which, I mean, to be honest with you, that always happens this time of year. And with all the stresses of family, the holidays, and we're very quickly approaching the 1-year anniversary of when we lost Tyler. It's just been kind of mentally draining. So I needed a day off. I recorded this video on the day that video should have gone up, so there's that. I slept in. I ran some errands. I had to go get some stuff. I had to pick up my medication from Walmart. I had to go pick up something else. It's just, that's what it was. It was just, I had to do some personal life stuff, and I didn't rush myself to get to work to get a video done, so, yeah. Hopefully, you're doing well. And hopefully this second Glitch in the Matrix collection doesn't come as a negative surprise. It shouldn't. I think you guys will appreciate it. And hopefully you do appreciate it. And are doing well. And enjoyed it. And if you did, consider hitting that thumbs up button, the like button. If you're new to the channel and liked what you heard and want more glitch... I just dropped something, sorry. Want more glitch stories, consider hitting the subscribe button. And if you're feeling bold, you can leave me a comment. Obviously, no word of the week. This is a Friday video, not a Monday video. So if you want to just leave me a comment with a bird in it, or your favorite kind of bird, I'd be cool with that. I won't include it in anything, but I would be cool with it, and I'd appreciate it. Let's do that. Just do birds. I like birds. And frogs. And snails. Anyways, you can also join Patreon memberships, get early access to content like this. You can also do a super thanks, which I tip the channel. Go to the coffee link, that's ko-fi, down in the description below, to get a listing of posters that are for sale. There are 3 of them now, so check those out. You can also just keep being you, and I'd appreciate that. That'd be awesome. Yeah. All that said, friends, I hope you're having a great week, hope you're having a great day, and hope you're doing all right. Just remember, tomorrow, the birds will sing. That's a quote. I made a shirt one time, a long time ago, with a blue jay that I drew, and it had that quote on it. It was a good shirt. I made it and printed it for myself. That was it. It was not for sale for a shirt. It was just a shirt, so irrelevant. Hope you're having a beautiful week. Hope I see you again here very soon. But until then, remember, you are loved. You are valid. You are important. You are the best you that you can be. Do not forget it, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Until next time, my friends, much love. Sleep well.